Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel once again. As you can probably tell, based on what's behind me here, I'm going to be giving my predictions for the 2024 NHL playoffs. And yeah, I know I'm covering up some of the West. I'll try to move out of the way so that you all can see who all is back there, but I'll try to tell you who I think is going to win each series, how many games it's going to take, and ultimately, at the end, who I think will take home the Stanley Cup this year. But I think without further ado, we should get right into the predictions, because we got a lot of matchups to go over. I'm going to start out in the East. And let's start over in the Atlantic Division with the Florida Panthers and the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Battle of Florida, once again, these teams, especially this year, just downright hate each other. But I still feel like Tampa, especially with everything that's been going on, is on a bit of a downturn. And in the end, I think the Panthers are going to be the ones that take it, although it'll be in 6 games. I'll say it goes 6 games, because Tampa's still a good team, but I think the Panthers are coming out at the very end of it with a W. The Boston Bruins and the Toronto Maple Leafs. From what I can recall, I remember seeing a stat that the Leafs hadn't beat the Boston Bruins in the playoffs since 1957 or something like that. So Boston's basically been their entire kryptonite the entire time, especially here in the playoffs, and I don't really think it changes. I think Boston wins the series yet again. Toronto gets, pimp slapped by their owners. And it'll happen in 7 games. It'll be another death march going through TD Garden. New York Rangers and the Washington Capitals. I'm sorry, the Caps shouldn't be there. Detroit probably would be better. The Caps and us should not be in. And when I say us, I mean the Penguins, because we still technically had a chance to make it into the playoffs. But neither of us should really be on this bracket. So, Rangers are going to take this. I'm going to say in 5 games. I don't think that the Caps can really match up and take out the Rangers. The Rangers are just too good, and everything that the Caps do well, the Rangers have guys that can match them and just, if not passing. Carolina Hurricanes and the New York Islanders. I'm going to say Carolina takes this in 6 games. The Islanders just don't think have enough oomph in their step, enough offense to truly take the victory at the end of everything. So I'm going to say Carolina, who still has a very solid defensive structure to them, and that little bit extra offensive power, taking the victory at the very end of everything. Okay, over in the West, again, I know this is going to be a little hard. I'm going to try to do what I can to let you see all the matchups. There you go. I'm not going to stay over here the entire time, but there's the matchups. Get a good look at them. Let's start off at the very top of everything there with Dallas Stars and the Las Vegas Golden Knights. Oh boy. This is going to be a really good matchup, and I think at the very end of it all, it's going to be a very tight series, and one that probably is going to be a barn burner. If you can stay up and watch those games, I would definitely say to 2 really good teams. and two teams that, quite frankly, I think could end up winning the cup. And Vegas, defending cup champs. And I think they're going to take it at the very end of it all in 7 games. It's not going to be an easy road for them, but I think they're going to take it in 7 games. Next would be the Winnipeg Jets and the Colorado Avalanche. I don't think the Avalanche aren't frauds. They got tons of talent. Arguably the Hart Trophy winner on their team. And I don't think Winnipeg's really frauds either, but they just haven't been able to keep consistency going. Going back to their time as the Thrashers. I still think they're a really good team. They're going to put up a really hard-fought game. But in the end, I think it's going to be Colorado that comes out on top. Vancouver and Nashville. I mean, I don't mean any disrespect when I say this. I really don't. But, like, I don't think Nashville stacks up to almost anyone else in the Western Conference here. I think they'd have a better shot if they were in the East, going up against a team like Washington or the not the Rangers, the Islanders. Maybe Toronto, but not so much. That would be a good series between those two, but I don't think Nashville would have the greatest chances there. But definitely the two Metro teams that are on top. And I'm gonna say Vancouver takes it. Kind of usually a rough series. It's gonna feel like 7 games probably, but I think it ends in like 5. I don't think it's that big of a time consumer for the Canucks. Edmonton Oilers and the Los Angeles. Whoa! Can I please stop talking? The Edmonton Oilers and the Los Angeles Kings. Okay. 3rd straight year that these two teams are facing each other. And the Oilers have gotten the better of them all the time. Fortunately for LA, I think that continues. I think the Edmonton Oilers are going to take this series once again. And are off the back of McDavid and Draisaitl. But I think the Edmonton's going to be the one that comes out on top in the end. And 3rd straight year that LA will lose to Edmonton in the first round. So, in the second round, I have Florida playing Boston, a rematch of, I believe it was 2023's first round, because that's when Toronto finally beat Tampa and got into the second round. Of which, Toronto, I'm really getting upset with you and Edmonton, quite frankly, because you're wasting God-sent talent. Matthews, Marner, Nylander, now Tavares on the Leafs. Edmonton had Hall, McDavid, Draisaitl. Like, you guys have transcendent talents on your teams, and you can't do anything with it. It's kind of getting embarrassing. But I have Florida and Boston taking each other on in the second round. The Rangers and the Hurricanes. The Golden Knights and the Avalanche. And Vancouver and Edmonton. And Canadian matchup. Let's go through the West first this time. Colorado and Vegas. This series I really think is going to go 7 games. A very hard 7 games. And honestly, I can see either team coming out in the end. At the very end, though, I think Colorado barely squeaks by with just because McKinnon says, I'm gonna move on. I am doing this. So I would not be surprised if Vegas wins the series, But I think McKinnon just decides to say, I'm murdering you all and going to the Western Conference Finals again. Vancouver and Edmonton. Another very tough series, and I think it goes 6 games with the Canucks barely squeaking it out. I just think the Canucks have more depth and more guys that can burn you than Edmonton has, and I think that depth in the end is what takes them to the very end. Okay, over into the East. Florida and Boston. I think Boston's going to want revenge, but I don't think it's going to happen. With everything that it is, Florida's, it's going to be battered and bruised from the series, but I mean, I feel like they kind of like that. And I think they're going to come out in the end with 6 games. 6 games. Boston's going to put up a really good fight, but I think in the end, Florida takes it. And here, this is going to be a 7-game slobber knocker, I feel. Not necessarily in fights, but the type of physicality, the roughness, the anger that these two teams are going to eventually have for each other in this series is going to be something. And I think Carolina pulls it off at the end. And for those of you that know, yes, there is a little condition with Carolina's picks. That's not why I'm choosing them. I'm not choosing them just so that the Penguins can get a better selection or get more picks. No. I genuinely think that Carolina can and would win these series the way I see them playing out. And at this point, I think the Florida Panthers, for the conference finals, I got the Panthers and the Hurricanes, and then Colorado and Vancouver. I think Florida's just going to be taking too much abuse through these first 2 series. You have Tampa, who hates their guts, and Boston, who's always a pain in the ass. Where Carolina has some roughness, but like this is going to be it's going to be less tough. And I think because of that, they're going to be able to handle and deal with the next physicality and dish it back well enough. And I think they're going to make it to the Stanley Cup final for the first time in quite a while. And then here in the Western Conference, we got Colorado and Vancouver. Again, I think McKinnon's just going to take it over in 6 games. Once again, yes, I know I'm saying 6 a lot, but it's how I truly feel a lot of these series are going to go. And then Colorado and Carolina for the Stanley Cup final. I want to see the Stanley Cup final go to 7 games just because I think it works so much better with everything. And I'm going to say it goes 7 games. And I think McKinnon pulls it. Yes, I know there's a lot more than just McKinnon on there. But I think McKinnon in the end is what does it. And with that, I'm going to say the Colorado Avalanche win the Stanley Cup for a 2nd time. A little bit on the shorter end of things, but this is something I wanted to do. It's not before the playoffs. We already had 1 game of the Carolina and Boston series happen. That really did not affect my predictions. The Panthers are currently playing the Lightning right now. I believe they're tied 1-1. But again, I don't think that really has affected any of my predictions here. And I'm sure there'll be some people that say, oh, I just picked Carolina to go to the Cup final because the Penguins get a 1st-round pick that way. No, I truly do believe that the Panthers will make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, but the Carolina Hurricanes, I should say, will make it to the Stanley Cup final because I think they are a good team that has that ability. But I think they fall short when in the biggest moment because there's just going to be too many other giant superstars on the opposing team. But I would love to see and hear what you all predict. Thank you all very much for watching. Let me know your predictions in the comments below. And I'm gonna have more videos getting worked on, so I hope you stick around by hitting that subscribe button. And continue to watch and hopefully enjoy. Thank you all. I'll see you around.